What is up, everyone? Good to finally get a talk in with you guys. I've been meaning to do this. It's been a little bit, but finally on it. The one thing I just wanted to talk about today was why am I so driven? Why am I so obsessed? How did I become so obsessed? And it's a tricky question because sure I can trace back to since I was a kid, but what really turned everything around was after I got into my motorcycle accident. So yeah, I was once in a supermoto accident, riding with the wrong guys. The right guys if you want to learn how to stunt. Wrong guys if you're trying to avoid the cops. So I was riding with them for a while, It was pretty reckless. No laws were being followed. But it was fun, it was a thrill. And I was kind of like learning how to get better at stunting my motorcycle. But I guess after a while, you do it so much and you start being complacent with the risks you take. And I know I was getting very complacent with the risks I was taking. So that night, oh my god, what a night. We were down in an industrial area on a side street about 1:30 in the morning, 1:30 a.m. Everyone is stunting, right? Everyone's practicing their wheelies, people burning out, people doing donuts, had some guys off their bike just chilling, talking story. And this is 1:30 in the morning, and I guess people live there in the industrial area, like the business owners have, they live at their business place. So we're just stunting, minding our own business on a side street, so dark. And then in the distance, you see headlights flashing, like headlights coming our way. And then my friend was like, "Yo, that's a cop, man." And I was like, "How can you even tell?" So, I just kind of sat on my bike. I kind of just chilled out. I just kind of waited. And then I noticed the headlights were coming at us quicker and faster and faster. And then soon enough, boom, it was a cop car that skidded right in front of me. Like, door flew open. Dude, I hit the gas. I just started splitting out. I went down this one route. Luckily, my one friend was actually taking a leak while that happened. So I guess he kind of served as a decoy for us. That night we were rolling like 15 deep. Maybe had about 15 of us. Once that cop car came, dude, everybody scattered. Just like everybody went in a different direction. Like, Meanwhile, I guess my friend is just like trying to hurry up and finish his leak while he's watching everyone scramble, cops coming. And I guess they harassed him. He was saying they were harassing him, calling him like all kinds of stupid names like pussy, like fucking little pussy, where's all your little pussy friends and shit like that. He was saying stuff like that. Anyway, I ended up kind of like going with these other two guys. I don't know where everyone else went. I was just focused on getting out of there. So we're going down this road, we go across an intersection, we start hanging a left turn, and I remember during that left turn I was going a little too fast. I didn't slow down enough, and I hit my brakes. I tapped my brakes, and I started sliding out already. I started drifting. And right when I started gaining control of like the slide out, it gripped, and I high-sided. And for those of you who don't know what a high side is, it's like you start sliding out, and when it grips, boom, the bike flips that way. And then the handlebar hit me right across the lower abdomen, and it even caught my the head of my and it felt like someone swung a bat at my lower abdomen. I did a front flip. I flipped over my bike. I landed on my back on the street. I remember I got up, adrenaline's pumping. First thing I did actually is like I put my hand in my pants to see if there was any blood. I checked for blood. I was like, no blood. And I looked, my friends were still going, they're looking back at me like, and they're still going like, bah, bah, bah. And then I looked behind, the cops weren't there. I was like, oh dude, the cop's not here. So I get on my bike, I pick up my bike, and I freaking get on. I start going first gear. I try to click it in second, and it doesn't want to click in second. I'm like looking down, like, what's wrong? What's wrong? You know, like, how come it's not clicking in second? So I shut off my bike, I put it in neutral, and I push it on the sidewalk. And luckily, the sidewalk was like kind of like a narrow sidewalk, wasn't a huge sidewalk. And there was a huge van parked right there. So I actually pushed my bike right behind the van on the sidewalk. And I kind of like, as soon as I pushed behind the van, all the pain just kicked in, and I just curled into a ball, like, oh. And I just like, I was in so much pain. And then meanwhile, like maybe 15 minutes later, I hear a car rolling up, and I peek through the van's windows, and it's the cop. And I'm just like super quiet. I'm just like, oh, you know, I just like in so much pain. And I see the cop go by. Cop keeps going. I'm like, he didn't see me. And then I call my friend. I tell him, yo, dude, I went down. And then he was like, yeah, I saw you, man. Where are you at now? I was like, oh, I'm still at the same spot. And he's like, okay, I'll come back. So he came back. Dude, I was still in so much pain. My stomach was just so sore. And my, you know what, was actually swollen too. It was terrible. And I had to figure out why my bike wasn't running. So once the pain kind of like went away, my friend was just waiting there with me. He didn't know what else to do. He's like, you want me to call the ambulance? I was like, no, you don't need to do that. I'm okay. I don't know, you know, I'm just stubborn that way, I guess. But anyway, I'm taking a look at my bike, and I notice my shifter is bent inward. It's pushed in from the crash. And so I was like, oh crap, I gotta pull that shifter out, you know. So once the pain went away, I'd say an hour later, I finally like bust out some wrenches, and like I spent another hour trying to like bend my shifter out. He takes a stab at it too for a little bit. He's trying to unbend it. He's not doing anything. I was like, oh, here, let me try it again. So I'm trying it. Boom. Finally, I get it bent little and little and little, and it's finally out enough for me to shift. So finally, I'm able to shift. And then my handlebars are all crooked. I end up riding home, all bust up, just sore. Handlebars crooked, shifters kind of like bent up. But I made it home. Next day, I didn't feel too bad. My, you know, I was still swollen. But as the week went on, I had a sore stomach that started getting worse. And I remember it was Halloween of 2013. It was the day after Halloween of 2013. Where like, it just hurt so much. It hurt a lot. And every time I just touched my stomach, it was sore. And I was like, I think something is wrong. I remember telling my friends about it. One of my friend's girlfriends was a nurse, and she was like, dude, you need to go to the hospital and check that out. That is serious. So I ended up going to the hospital after hanging out with my friends that night, because they got me all worried about it. So I go to the hospital, they do the MRI, they do the test. I tell them I was in a motorcycle accident and my stomach hurts. So they do the test, and they discover that my, what the heck is it? My appendix, sorry, went blank for a little bit. My appendix was ready to burst. They said I have acute appendicitis, and they need to take it out now before it bursts and I die. I'm like, holy shit. So, you know, I go through the surgery, they contact my family. And that is not even the first abdomen surgery I had too. I tore my abdomen, got a hernia from skateboarding like back in 2010. Landed off like this huge ramp onto the flats, like splat. And anyway, so you know, the surgery went okay. They were able to take it out, and what they did was they prescribed me metronidazole and ciprofloxacin. Metronidazole and ciprofloxacin. It's an antibiotic to kill any bacteria that might have spread into my abdomen after the surgery when they removed the appendix. And up until that part, I always took antibiotics if they were prescribed to me. So I took it, and as the week went on, I noticed halfway through the week after I was taking it, I was like, hey, you know what, my stomach is feeling a little better, like the injured part's feeling a little better. But as the week went on, like later in the week, I noticed I started to get like vertigo. Like vertigo. Another thing that was happening was I would move just any which way, and within like those last few days of the week, I somehow sprained multiple tendons in my back just moving different times and not doing anything strenuous, literally like just getting up like this and boom, like I pulled a muscle in my back, and that like put me out of commission. Can you imagine like keep on straining your back, different parts and different tendons? My hands were cramping up, like I couldn't, my hands were like totally like stiff and cramping up, and I didn't understand what was going on. I was like, what the hell, this is not normal. On top of that, I had a couple anxiety attacks where you just feel like you can't breathe, and then you feel like something is wrong because you can't breathe, like you literally can't breathe, you don't know why. So I ended up going back to the ER a week after I just got out of the ER. So I went back to the ER. This time it was because like I felt like I was gonna faint. I was having trouble breathing. I'm pulling all these tendons. My hands were cramping up, and like I had vertigo. Dude, I was like, that wasn't there. That was not there, prior to this whole experience. And I remember thinking like, what the hell is going on? I'd never been so scared. I didn't understand what was going on. I knew it was what I was taking though. I knew that much. I knew it was from the drugs I was taking, so I told him I stopped taking it. When I got to the hospital, I was like totally flushed, super pale. They put an IV in me to try and get me hydrated again. And so I'm finally feeling a little hydrated after a few hours being in the hospital, and then they released me. They said I don't need to take that medicine anymore, the antibiotic, and it's like, oh, I wasn't gonna take it anyway. And from that point on, the next few months, I continued even after I stopped taking the medicine, the antibiotics, ciprofloxacin and metronidazole. I still continued to experience vertigo. In fact, it was like I would even say almost a year. I still experienced vertigo. I still kept rupturing different muscles in my body from very simple minor movements. And that year after that, I was pretty disabled. I used to be a very, very active person, totally hooked on just all kinds of extreme sports, skateboarding, bodyboarding, riding dirt bike, going to the gym, training, hunting. I was a very, very active person, and that year I lost hope. That year I lost hope. I saw a bunch of specialists. And mind you, seeing these specialists to figure out what's going on, how come I have vertigo now? How come I'm rupturing tendons? How come, I could tell them my theory. I think it's the medicine I was taking, and they look at me like I'm retarded, like I'm silly. Like, oh, it most likely not that, but that's when all the changes started happening, I know people who have their appendix removed and they don't experience all these vertical rupturing tendons in the rest of their body after that. And I went in a downward spiral. Like I went into depression. I took TDI from the current job I was actually a teppanyaki chef at the time for Benihana. Those of you who might know Benihana, Benihana, Waikiki. I used to be a teppanyaki chef. I took TDI because standing there in front of that Teflon grill was painful for my back. It hurt. My entire body hurt. And after a while, it was like, after a while of also, like the rupturing tendons and stuff, it was more of just like a constant nagging, achy pain. Like it didn't go away. Like my body just ached 24/7. And I would see these specialists after specialists, and they'd all create their own little term of diagnosis for what it is. And after seeing so many specialists with no results, with no positive change, no progress in healing, you start to just call bullshit in what they're diagnosing you with. And I stopped believing like everything they were telling me. I just stopped believing. And I decided to take matters in my own hands because they damn nearly drained my bank account. I'm too injured to work, which meant I didn't like working there already. It wasn't fun for me because it hurt. Standing there hurt. Oh, I didn't know what to do. It's like, what am I gonna do? I need to work. I need to make money. I need to pay my bills. I need to feed myself, take care of myself. And these specialists drained my account. They told me that's just the way your body is now. It's just wear and tear. We'll prescribe you some pain medicine. We'll prescribe you some painkillers. And after my experience with the metronidazole and ciprofloxacin, I was like, fuck that. I ain't taking no painkillers. Not that I didn't like taking painkillers anyway, but even more so after that experience. And I swear, for the next 2 years, I went on living my life thinking that I was permanently disabled. I couldn't run anymore. I couldn't jump anymore. I couldn't kick the bag how I used to kick the bag. I couldn't box. I couldn't bodyboard. Riding hurt my back. Everything hurt. I couldn't do any of it anymore. None of it. And I'm gonna be honest, I did think of taking my life multiple times. I thought of ending my life. I thought of killing myself. I thought of jumping off of the Hilton. I thought about it a lot. I'd cry every night. It was a very, very hard time for me. And I still remember it pretty clearly, only because I'm thinking about it. But I decided to take matters into my own hands, and I started doing all my own research. I started researching, why does my body hurt? What is this aching pain that I'm feeling all the time, every day in, day out? And I came across a doctor who was more of a holistic practitioner, and he was talking about how achy pain in your body, constant achy pain in your body, is due to inflammation, right? And he started breaking down what causes inflammation through your diet, through what you eat. And one thing he did suggest is gluten, wheat, barley, rye, and oats mainly. Rice has gluten, but not as much. They cause inflammation in the body because some people's body does not process those things, only because of the way they're grown now, or they're GMO, or they're just not the same as what they used to be, when they were grown back in the day. and he suggested try going gluten free for a week, see how you feel. Go gluten free for 1 week, see how you feel. And I'm shit out of luck and I'm down to try anything, right? So I do this gluten free thing for 1 week. That 1 week was one of the most difficult weeks of my life. You know why? Because I realized every snack I ate, every meal I ate contained gluten. Snacks, I'd be eating donuts, cookies. Oh man, I'm a I used to be a cookie monster. I ate cookies, oh, toast, buttered toast, you name it, man. Pizza. And it never bothered me before, you know? I went through 20 something years. What was that? Even 30, yeah, like 30 years of eating gluten without a problem until now, until that time. And that week, although it was difficult for me to figure out how to eat, because I had to relearn how to eat, I was like, okay, what do I eat? Let me tell you this, I came across the gluten one, maybe a year before that, like the first year of all that pain, I went vegan, but I was still eating gluten and a lot of it. And I went vegan because I was thinking maybe that would help with the pain, until I came across a doctor who said try going gluten free, to be specific. And when I did, it was like night and day. I swear to God, after 1 week, that achy pain that was always there, that never went away, it was gone. Like, I remember moving my hips and my back, like a week later, I was like, dude, what the hell? The ache is gone. But I noticed because of those 2 years of me like pulling my back, and I would baby it, because every time I try to strengthen, do anything, I just pull another muscle. But at least from that point on, I was able to at least start moving a little bit without the ache. You know what I mean? And on top of that, I started doing cleansing. I started doing an all natural cleanse. Like, I did a major detox. Like, it's like a detox tea we can get from our vegan store down here. I swear, I took that thing for like months, maybe like 3 months, every day. I drank that tea, detox tea. So I'm thinking like all of this helped. At the same time, what clicked in my head, I don't even know why I never thought about earlier, was I was like, why don't I go see my uncle who's a chiropractor? Like, why am I wasting time with all these specialists who are pointing me in no direction? And then it even clicked in me before, dude, my uncle who is a chiropractor actually put my back together previously, like years before, after I told you I had my first abdomen surgery. He helped me recover. And I don't know why it was only now I decided to go and see him. Like, dude, he helped me out before. Why did I have to go see all these specialists, let them drain my account, steal my hope, rob me of my dreams? Listen to their bullshit. Listen to their hoopla. PhDs fucking good for nothing. It's so irritating. But I tell you, I remember also researching on YouTube ciprofloxacin, Cipro. You can just type that in YouTube, Cipro, Cipro. Oh my God. Nothing but horror stories of permanent damage, of all these testimonies of people who are permanently disabled because of that drug. And I was thinking in combination with metronidazole, which, I don't know, maybe has a slightly different tweak to the side effects, you know what I mean? But I swear to God, 2 years, I lost hope, got really out of shape, got really bad posture, pulled a bunch of muscles, and I was disabled. I was partially disabled. I could kind of walk and hobble here and there. I couldn't run. I couldn't walk far. I couldn't stand long. I couldn't even sit down long. And after I discovered all that, and I started seeing my chiropractor again, oh my God, I was able to move, which was the greatest feeling ever. Like, I was able to move, and it was a slow progression. So the next year, I say the next 2 years. 2 years I was disabled. The next 2 years after I figured out the gluten thing made the ache go away, I spent rehabilitating my own back. One thing I came across was martial arts stretches. Martial arts stretches and jiu-jitsu core exercises. That was where I started. Okay? And then I also started doing water aerobics on my own, not with like a class and all the ladies or anything. I did water aerobics, like I did my own exercises, leg raises in the water, just swinging my legs different ways, moving my hips. And I did that for 2 years. And I built up my core again. I built up my core. Since I built up my core, I've been able to kick the bag again. I've been able to ride again. I've been able to do a lot of things again. I've been playing basketball with my nephew. You have no idea how great it feels to be able to just play basketball with my nephew. It's amazing. It's amazing. And I feel like since I've been able to move again, I've been trying to do things that I've never done before. Not in a bad way. I mean, nothing too crazy. But I've been pushing the limits, at least with the boxing and the martial arts, my martial arts training. Like, it's like once I started being able to move again, I never want to stop. I remember when I was finally able to go hunting again for the first time without me crying in pain after the hunt because my back was so sore. You have no idea. You have no idea. Not only was I physically disabled, spiritually I was robbed. I was robbed, thinking there was no hope, right? On top of that, financially, I was robbed by Big Pharma and these doctors, our medical system here. And to come out of that, I had to fight my way out of that. I fought my way out of that. And people think, I got it good all the time. During that time when I was in so much pain and I knew it was from the drugs, I put that drug on blast so much on social media, my Facebook. And it pushed a lot of people away. People thought I just went crazy. And I did go crazy in a certain way. No one believed me. Everyone thinks I'm just crazy, They don't know. And I would never wish that on my worst enemy to experience what I experienced. From the motorcycle accident back to back with the Cipro and metronidazole poisoning, it ruined my life for a good amount of years. But I feel like all of it was for a reason, and I learned a lot about myself on this journey of climbing out of this, on this journey of taking matters into my own hands to fix my back, to rehabilitate myself, to take care of my own health, to rebuild my finances. I found what it is I love to do. And during this journey, after I fixed my back, I also found mentors that have been helping me on my financial path. It's been amazing. It's been an amazing ride, and it wasn't always like this. But people wonder why I have so much drive. And that's because it was once all taken away from me. It was all taken away from me. Even the girl that I used to really, really like and we used to kick it a lot when I was disabled, she was gone. They were all gone. And I've rebuilt my life since then. And this is one of the shirts I made. Dream Chasers. Relentless Dream Chasers. Well, anyway, thanks for listening to my story. This was my crazy story. One chapter out of my crazy life. And I hope you all can take something away from this. Don't give up hope. Don't believe everything people say. And you just gotta find it in yourself to make it happen. Alright guys, thanks for listening. Peace.